Hello friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kids Animal Stories. I don't know about you, but I cannot stop thinking about Luna and Rio, who are right now stuck up in a tree after turning into some young Komodo dragons. I think they're going to have to learn a whole lot more about Komodo dragons in order to escape this crazy adventure. Well, my friends, are you ready to find out what is going to happen with this Komodo dragon adventure? Me too, let's go! Luna and Rio were climbing up this tall tree to avoid being eaten by a ginormous 10-foot-long Komodo dragon. Shh, Mr. Jim, what do we do? What do we do? Shouted Luna. Shh, don't worry, guys. I am on my way. I'll be there in 2 minutes. Just hang on. Over and out. Shh. Luna and Rio couldn't believe it. They were high up a tree, and there it was. This ginormous 10-foot dragon was trying to eat them. But thankfully, that giant dragon, he had a harder time climbing trees, and so he backed off the tree and then just laid down. Okay, it looks like he's taking a nap or something, but there's no way we can sneak down this tree without him knowing, said Rio. I know, but let's just hang here. Okay, we can stay here, and then I'm sure Mr. Jim will have a plan, said Luna. They finally now had a chance to calm down a little bit after all that excitement. Wow, Luna, do you see how long our tails are? Said Rio. I know, I was just checking that out. The tails are really long, and look at how big my claws are. Check this out. Luna held up her hand that had all these big, long dragon claws. Yeah, Komodo dragons have very long claws. For digging and for climbing, they're very useful tools. And Rio, look at that one down there. If you thought we had a lot of slime on our mouths and faces, he has got like 10 times as much, said Luna. Yes, and she's actually right. You see, the older a Komodo dragon gets, the more slobber he gets that's hanging out of his mouth. It looks absolutely disgusting. But remember, it's an important tool of a Komodo dragon. It helps them a lot in catching their prey. Finally, Mr. Jim arrived. Luna! Rio! Stay up in that tree and I'll take care of this one down here. Mr. Jim had brought a whole bunch of Komodo dragon food. It was a big chunk of meat, and as soon as that big Komodo dragon stuck out his tongue, he could taste that delicious chunk of meat that Mr. Jim had brought for him. Come here, big guy, shouted Mr. Jim, and that big Komodo dragon raced off to go eat a delicious meal. Luna, Rio, come on, now's your time, get down. They quickly climbed down the tree and raced over towards Mr. Jim, who was standing by all the hoverboards. Oh, Mr. Jim, so great, so good to see you. Can we turn back into kids now? Oh, absolutely. Just touch that button on your hoverboard and it will turn you back. Instantly, Luna and Rio returned back to their normal people bodies. Holy smokes, Mr. Jim, that was a crazy adventure, said Rio. I could have done without the whole almost getting eaten by a giant Komodo dragon, said Luna, but it was pretty awesome. So what did you guys learn about Komodo dragons? Asked Mr. Jim. Well, I learned that us smaller Komodo dragons, we can climb trees pretty well, but those big ones, I don't think they can, said Rio. Yeah, you're right. Once they get that big, like that one, you're right. That was a huge one. That was 10 feet long. It's a lot harder for them to get up in a tree because they're so big and heavy. As the three of them watched that big Komodo dragon gobble up those big chunks of meat, they couldn't believe how powerful he was. Yeah, look at that. His jaws are so strong, said Luna. It's like he doesn't even have to try to tear off a big piece of that meat. Yes, they are very strong, said Mr. Jim. But remember when he was sticking out his tongue to taste that meat? Yeah, that's another really cool thing about Komodo dragons. They can taste the air, kind of like snakes can. Well, their sense of smell and taste is really good, and they can smell their food from miles away. Can you imagine if I was miles away from you and cooked a nice, delicious meal? Do you think you could smell it? Oh, definitely not, said Rio. Yes, us people, we don't have nearly as good of smellers and tasters as Komodo dragons, said Mr. Jim. Luna and Rio hopped on their hoverboards and said, all right, well, I think we have enough for our report. We should probably head home. Yes, it is getting late, and yeah, I can't imagine anyone else having a better report than you two after what you've experienced, laughed Mr. Jim. Yeah, I think I'm going to have a hard time convincing our school of what actually happened today, laughed Rio. But yes, we definitely have enough for our report. All right, Luna, let's go. As they blasted off with their hoverboards, Mr. Jim was waving goodbye as they flew off through the clouds. Whew, that was a crazy adventure. Well, Mr. Komodo Dragon, bon appetit, enjoy your meal, and I will see you later. As Mr. Jim waved goodbye, he zoomed off on his hoverboard, back to headquarters. The end. Great job, you listened all the way to the end. Wow, what an awesome adventure that the Outside Squad had. I don't think Luna and Rio expected that, but I'm so glad that they're safe and that they learned a ton for their school report about Komodo dragons. What is something that you learned today about Komodo dragons? I learned that disgusting spit that hangs out of their mouth is actually full of bacteria that can kill their prey and get it ready for them to eat. Wow, that is a pretty interesting way to prepare your meal. I'm glad that's not the way that we go shopping or get our dinner ready. Well, every creature has their own way, and that is definitely the Komodo dragon's way. Well, you have a super duper day, and I will see you on our next adventure. Bye!